just want to spend some time with this video to give you 3 quick tips before you kind of like submit your essays for this application cycle, or even if you want to start your essays like in the next application cycle, to make sure that your case is really like strong when you are kind of like facing the rest of the application pool. The first thing that I really like to highlight is like I just advise everyone to make their cases and their personal statements or their general common app essays or whatever as personal as possible, because that's just the only real tangible way to kind of like stand out from the application pool, right? The thing is, I see a lot of people speak about like a few very common, very kind of like trendy topics, and I'm very certain that a lot of people who kind of like send these essays over, like send these essays to these universities, are very passionate about these problems. It's either like some form of discrimination or something about sustainability or the climate or whatever. But if your essay is like 700 words, right, don't spend about 400 words kind of explaining the topic, because it kind of like appears to be like a preaching to the choir kind of like situation where like a lot of people are already aware of these problems, right? And I think through your essay, I'm not going to read your essay as an admissions officer to be aware of the actual problem, or like just like be aware of like how bad the problem is. I want to know why you think that problem is bad, or like why you are personally passionate about that problem. So when people write about like climate change and stuff, they spend a lot of time writing about like trees being cut down, deforestation, the importance of conservation, and like you're just going on and going on and going on about like veganism and stuff like that, and you're just going on about this topic. And that, I think that's great for platforms like Instagram or like platforms like YouTube or whatever to kind of like make people aware of that respective topic. But that's not what you're trying to kind of achieve from your admissions essay, right? Like you want to say that, look, I'm someone with initiative, I'm someone who's affected by these problems, but this is why I'm personally affected by it, kind of thing. Like there are like a bunch of stories that like you can kind of develop with your passions and your interests, right? I think you need to focus on that kind of story instead of the actual social problem, because like trust me, like these admissions officers get like 30,000 odd essays, and like, I've read a lot of essays. I've read like, I mean, for a student who's just helping other people out, I think I've read like about 100 essays, or like even to the close to the 200 essay mark. And like most of the time, like see, I am already kind of like fatigued when I read through like that amount of essays, right? So like I can only imagine how college admissions officers kind of like feel when they see the same essay over and over and over and over and over again, So yeah, like just like avoid the general statements that a lot of people would make, and just what you need to always realize is that there is no red carpet to university, right? Like you need to kind of like learn how to differentiate yourself and figure out exactly how you can convey that information as to how you are different and how you have a unique skill set that could be brought to like a university situation. So that's that. The second thing I'd like to kind of emphasize on is kind of like keeping things simple, like keeping your phrasing and like your ideas and the way you express your ideas simple. Don't use overly complex language if you don't even really understand what that word means. You can say things without like a off the norm word and still achieve the same thing. And sometimes you might your phrasing and that respective sentence could even be like 10 times better if you use simpler language. What I've noticed is like a lot of MUNers and like debaters, like when you say a sentence, it's like people say, I would like to proceed with the following points encompassing the previous points and therefore establish this pivotal thematic idea. Like people go on like an absolute like whirlwind of like tangents when they like say stuff like this, and I'm just like you could probably say that entire sentence in like 2-3 words, right? And something I did like even recently is like I didn't have this problem when I was like writing my essays, because I got a lot of feedback and stuff, and if I ever had something like that I fixed it. But like even recently, like you have these bad habits for a long time, like when you write, this comes with like in MUN, like you write stuff like resolutions, or like when you debate and when you like lose stuff in your head, like you take some time to like formulate your sentences, right? I would say something like, I would like to state that and then I would state the thing. And this is just how we navigated like our social circles whenever like, when we were in MU and all, like that's just how we navigated like our conversations during like certain debates, when we were like, when our heads are like blanking out or whatever. And this is something like my mentor Imran said, right? He was like, yeah, this sounds like MUN kind of language. Instead of just saying I would like to say that, just state it. Instead of saying that I would like to, I believe that this is the case, just say what you believe in. And that's just a very like, because those words and those filler words are very powerless, right? I have like issue with filler words when I speak sometimes, and like I'm aware of the problem, right? Like, but like when you're writing, you can actually control it much more than when you're speaking. Speaking, I think, needs a bit more training. So just make sure that like you're just not like feeling, every sentence should be very economical in my opinion. Like make sure that every sentence is just like strong, it's to the point, it's concise, and like it conveys what you have to convey. You can be descriptive, that's not what I'm saying, but like being descriptive and just putting powerless words just to like make the sentence look lengthier and just like reassure yourself that you are smarter in some sense, it just doesn't end up working well for a lot of people, in my opinion. So definitely like keep that in mind. The last thing, of course, is just like make sure you do like grammar checks. Like either use like Grammarly, if you can invest in Grammarly Premium, I think that's lit. No, make sure like you reach out to people, because like there are certain things that you don't notice. And I think if people have come to college and they've taken like writing classes and whatnot, or they've exposed themselves to more writing, like people have a bit more insight on these things, right? And I think obviously with that also means that feedback is always like a decent amount of feedback is always good, because we are very, very romantically kind of like connected to our ideas sometimes, and sometimes that could not really be the best thing for us, because you don't look at it in the lens of an admissions officer. And I think it's always extremely important to get like a third party opinion. And always remember that when you get feedback, like the other person just wants you to win, right? I'm pretty sure if someone agreed to help you, they just want you to win. So just don't take feedback personally, and just make sure that you're constantly improving. But also just remember that like at the end of the day, like you need to be comfortable with what you send. So like believe in yourself and what you have to say, and sometimes be stubborn enough to reject feedback. Even like if you're reaching out to me, like be stubborn enough to reject my feedback. But just know that it always comes from a good place. So yeah, I hope this was helpful. This is like just a quick like a mashup of like random advice I had. Yeah, and I hope literally everyone who applies succeeds. Like I just want all of you to win always. Yeah, thank you.